All right, we are live, everybody. Welcome to the show. As usual, we'll wait for a few people to gather here. Hello, everyone. Been a couple of weeks. Haven't seen you guys. We had a great show last time and the time before here. We got a great one lined up for you today here. We're getting to the end of the season. Going to do a Kentucky Lake Super Tournament preview today here. Jerry's going to be joining us in just a little bit here. We'll wait for a few people to get logged in, and then we'll take a little bit of a review on the Illini standings, where the boaters are at, where the co-anglers are at, kind of what we think's been happening the last couple of weeks. Maybe share some fishing stories, maybe catch up on a couple of my videos and what's going to be happening, and hear from you guys here. What are you thinking as we head in toward the end of the year? All right, we got four people. Hey, who's here? Say, everybody say hi. Let me know who's here. The usual suspects, I assume. Let's see, I just got an email. Let's make sure this isn't Jerry. He's got the link here. Okay, that's not that. All right, hi, everybody. Who's been out fishing? I've kind of got the red nose and red face here. Um, you saw I dropped Shelbyville from August 1st here last Sunday. I was really behind. Um, I came home early this Sunday again here. I've got, I was out on Shelbyville again on August 15th here. I got that one queued up. That'll shoot off on Thursday morning. Um, Another video and learning, no matter what you think when you go to the lake, what you got in mind beforehand might not work, and you got to go with the flow. I thought it was pretty interesting how that went on. Hey, Ron, how's it going? Good to see you. Hey, Ron, you headed down to the Super Tournament? Just want to gauge some participation here. I bet Brad's got to be online. Dustin, my usual guys, Eric. Maybe they're uh, maybe they're getting here a little bit late here. It was nice to finally meet you at Ren there, Ron. Sorry, it was kind of tight on time here. I was going back to pick up the boat to go get my fisher, you know. In fact, I haven't done hardly any jam nights all summer. I got one on this Wednesday night uh, coming up in St. Louis. If you're ever interested in hitting that out, Ron, here, they've kind of expanded and divided the group here. We can talk on the side about it, see what's going on there. I also thought it was kind of interesting. I think Brad brought it up last time. I thought it was an interesting idea. He's like, "Oh, hey, you guys," or maybe it was with Gabe. You should like give away perks, like go fishing. I'm like, well, I didn't think anyone would want to go fishing with me, but yeah, maybe we can line that up. Maybe that'd be a cool idea here. I know people are from all around here, and we're kind of getting toward the end of the season here. I got an action-packed September. I mean, Illini people will be on the Super Tournament on Kentucky on what the 7th, 8th, 6th, 7th, whatever that Saturday, Sunday is. And then I jumped in the Ozarks Super Tournament, which is the next Saturday, Sunday. I got a week off with some family things here. Um, um, and then we're heading into the regionals for the BFL. Hopefully, I get it. That's like October 3rd and 4th up at the Mississippi River here. I know everyone was digging the elites up on the Mississippi and good old school fishing up there. That was pretty cool. Seen old hammer like Pat Schlapper win it. That's pretty neat here. And then I've got the Toyota series, third one in the Plains divisions on Lake of Ozarks here. So hopefully I'm going to have a ton of content in the next 5 or 6 weeks here, and hopefully a lot of 2 day content, not 1 day. Um, and that'll keep us busy into the break here. And then I saw some people asking about, well, a bunch of series have announced their schedules. When did they announce the BFL schedule? The BFL schedules, they start announcing, as I remember, in extremely late October or early November ish. They announced that schedule. Other people are asking about the wild cards. They don't announce the wild card typically until um, the supers are underway or about over. They don't want anyone doing too much pre-fishing. Maybe someone else remembers that. Any questions on that from the field here? Hey, we're up to 6 here. Jerry Hall, pro boater in the Kentucky Lake, Barkley Lake area. He's going to be joining us here in a little bit here. He had a tight schedule, so I said I'd do some of the preview first here. So, the first thing I kind of wanted to do is kind of take a look here at what's going on in the standings here. Um, in the Illini Division here, Riley Walks leading by 11 points, not a lot over Andrew Harper. Patrick Odell, we had him on the show. He's right in the fray at 948. Bobby McMullen at 82 or so is just kicking butt. This is really cool to see for us old guys. Greg Squared here, Greg James and Mullins here, just about tied at 920, still in the running. Neighbors, King, Timmy Schneider with over 900 points here, eking them out even on the tough lakes at tough times. Congratulations to him. He pops in sometimes. Cecil, I met him at Rend. He did there. Jeremy Mull, Mario Russo, Chase Johnson, Todd Blakeman, cool guy, fish with him. Our good friend Larry here, always in the fray. And on down to Dawson Hendricks. I don't know him. Balding's up there. I think he used to be co-angler a few years ago. He's moved up to boater. John Wright, perpetual hammer in the area. Billy Walker, I drew him as a boater on Run Lake a few years ago. That was an excellent experience. Good luck to him here. And that hits about the top 20. Adam Brookman, hey, he was my link for Ren. Thank you, Adam. But certainly for AOI here, maybe the cutoff is about, maybe number 11's got a chance. That's maybe it here. Let's check over here. John, how you doing? Yeah, we're gonna get to you, buddy. I saw you're on here. And then on the co-angler side, which a lot of you guys are interested, Bobby McNeil, kind of, it's his to lose. There's 350 points on the line here today. If he blanks, he opens up the door. If he catches a fish, he's probably got it. Ken Landreth, Brad's in a heated match here. Just 22 points here, but behind Kenny in case Bobby fails here. Elmo Rogers, Matt Chumbler, I met him at Ren. Mario Rossi, Thomas Duke, a newcomer, a young guy from my home lake town in central Illinois, where I have my lake house in Painted Lake there. Congratulations to him. Amanda Black doing really well this year, up in the running too. John Collins, our buddy, sitting in 9. Congratulations. That's a tough year here, even to get 658 on some of the tough conditions we had here. So you're sitting pretty. Dan Brown, Gary Huber, Gavin, Doug, Owen. I met Owen up at Eagle Creek. Good luck to him. Dale's always a hammer, always there. Brian, Anthony, Ross, Aaron's usually up at the top. He's having a tough year. There's some guys that are usually at the top of the coast here for the last 3-4 years, kind of down in the standings. It's been a tough year on a lot of people. Brett, Ryan, and then if you look at what happens here, there's a big drop. There's a big drop off after about 30, 40. Tentative cutoff line for regionals if you meet all the qualifications around 243 points, and participation points like me here. So Kentucky Lake, I did check on, if we go back in time here, if we go to the results 2 years ago, Illini Division was there for the Super Tournament. Yep, here we go. And on the boater side, 32 pounds over 2 days won. Dustin Val, Garrett McDowell, Total Hammer, Levi Cole, Kentucky Lake Hammer, Schroeder, yep. Bobby McMullen again right in there. Jeff DeFew, our buddy Jerry Hall, our guest of honor. He had a shot for it. Look at this. Talk about consistency. 10-12, 10-12, 2 days in a row. Brendan McCord, David Carroll, Keith, Patrick Odell, always in the fray. Kevin, Harry, Terry. I fished with him on day one here. We had a really good chat. He talked to me a lot. He talked to me about how he learned a lot in the Toyota series. I think he really put that idea in my head. Jordan Hartman, a big name. Clint Knight. He's doing really well down there. We're going to hit some local hammers down there for boaters and co-anglers. I know a lot of people kind of from down there just kind of jackpot a little bit. And then on the co-angler side, 20 pounds won, 13 and 6 he had. Now this flip-flop, 5 in there. Aaron Arning, right in the fray, 18 pounds. And it goes down pretty quick here. Jason, Bill, Mike Swetland, he's a boater now. He does a co thing. He actually coes in the Kentucky, the Toyota series in the Central Division on all those big Tennessee lakes here, and he's made the championship run there too. Brady, I don't know Brady. Brad was right in there. To get to that second day here, you only needed 2 fish or 4 pounds here. Matt Tinsman. Oh yeah, we had him on the show. I didn't even know him back then. And it gets a lot tougher on that second day here, but are conditions going to be better or worse? It was a little bit later in the month. It was the 23rd and 24th. It's going to be a little bit earlier. So, that's going to change conditions up for some people who were, kind of thinking about how it went down last time. So there we go there. I was kind of thinking about it. I was out on Shelbyville again practicing this weekend. If that cool front and that north wind came in by, and I don't know if any of you guys were out fishing here, but it definitely slowed down big time this weekend. It was really tough to get a bite. I talked with Eric, small ones and hard to get a bite here. I'm thinking about, I'm starting to see a lot of the juvenile shad. They're in some of the coves. They're on some of the cover, and definitely some shad presentations I think are going to play here. I'm kind of thinking what we're seeing now in 2 or 3 weeks on Kentucky Lake is, the lake, here, how we're fishing here, is, maybe about a 2 or 3 week, difference. And we are on the north side of the lake, but, I haven't been down there, and Jerry will be able to fill us in, or maybe if Brad's on, maybe Brad's been out on Kentucky Lake, or John, I'm not sure if you've trekked down there yet for any practicing, what you're seeing. Yeah, no comments there, huh? Yeah, Jerry will be popping on for you guys. I might have popped on a little bit late here. Jerry had a tight schedule. He's going to jump on just about 8 o'clock here, 10, 15 minutes here to get going. One thing I will say, a little bit of a preview for Jerry here. Um, um, I hopped on one of his auctions. He's on this app called Whatnot. Have you guys ever heard of it? It's like it's like a mini live auction site where the auctions are, you got like maybe a minute and 20 seconds of an auction here, and he's got a ton of lures, and he's been purveying some more lures and selling some lures here. So I jumped on one a couple weeks ago. I picked up I picked up a pair of these guys. They look pretty cool. Some flat siders here, kind of loud shakers here. Um, I don't know if they came from the factory. I think they came from the factory as in um, the base color, but then somebody painted on to make it look like a little baby bass here. So I thought that was pretty cool. And when you get into the fall here, um, the other couple lures I bought, I mean, I got those for like $4 or $5. You got to pay shipping. Once you pay one shipping of like $4, then it's like, 90 cents or nothing for another two, three, four, five, six lures, according to how big they are. Um, I got a couple of these really small guys too, and some nice exotic colors here. I was thinking for fall, the really small shad and what's going on when they get picky here, kind of like a finessey bait there. Um, I also got a couple of brand new Yozuri jerk baits from them. Brand new in the box, not even open. I mean, like $10 list lures for $3 a piece. Some pretty good colors. Ron, weekend before on Kincaid was very good. I put 20 in it. Wow, awesome. 2 days this past weekend. Had 5 over 2 days slow. I put 20 in a kayak over 2 days this past week. Oh, weekend before, I got you. Yeah, the weekend before, the 15th, I was at Shelbyville and did pretty well too here. You'll see that video on Thursday, but this weekend, oh man, it was just a bite down. Yeah. Um, I think Eric said he was out there too. I'm not sure if Eric's on here. So yeah, it's getting to that time of year, a lot of times those dog days in August gets really bad, and if the weather cools up, it gets better. But it's been a weird fishing season all along. Those really hot days in August, I was actually doing okay. I'd be off the water by 11:30, 12. I wasn't fishing in the afternoons, but kind of mornings and evenings weren't bad. So, what else here? John, you been out fishing anywhere? Hey, who else is online here? We had a bunch of people join. If you're joining late here, Jerry's gonna hop on in a few minutes here. He had a tight schedule here. We're gonna get at some of his insights to Kentucky Lake here. Um, I remember 2 years ago that when we were down there in September, oh, there was a ton of baby shad out. We were fishing, brush piles and crappie beds, and Terry was pretty much a shallow guy. I mean, the fish had really been, beat up, out on the bars, out on the shallows. But, you know, um, in the Kentucky Lake Division Super Tournament last year, which was around the second or third week here, there was a beginning of a top water bite if you were on the right place too. Um, I caught some on some shaky head worms. I had the tube out. I had the brush hog out. I think I caught a couple non-keepers on as well. I had some flukes out. A donkey rig. Standard kind of stuff here. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to be able to jump in for a day of practice with Jerry down there. Get some more video. So I can't believe it's already going to be Labor Day weekend. I hope everyone's relaxing. Going to have some family plans. A little fishing with the grandkids, smoking up some pork, and we're going to do a smoked corn dip. In fact, someone said, "Have you ever smoked a meatloaf?" They had a recipe for a meatloaf. Um, my daughter wants to smoke, so I'm like, "Okay, it's going to turn to smoker on Friday, and it's going to probably be on all weekend." Oh, you're retiring from work tomorrow. Well, congratulations, sir. Well, well-deserved career. I know we talked a little bit about that the other week here. It's nice to kick back. I'm down to 30 hours. I'm kind of semi-retired, but not full-time retired. Going. So Tuesday, that's a kind of a weird day to pick here, but maybe it just worked out with your remainder of vacation days. Congratulations, sir. So John's going to be the hammer next year. He's going to have all that free time, and he's going to have all that practice time, and he's going to be ready to rock and roll in all the tournaments. Yeah, having a good season there. Hey, what'd you guys think of the Alex Roberts interview? Do you guys watch his channel? I think he's got a pretty awesome channel too. Ended the pay period. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, practice makes perfect. Obviously, thanks again to Tin Horse Monty. That rocked the channel. Number one watched video. Um, I definitely saw an uptick of views on the channel. That's pretty cool. And going out and seeing people, last couple times out on Shelbyville, people recognize me. I met a couple more people that were familiar faces, but, never really talked to them. So it's nice to talk to people. And I know Tin Horse is always, staying late and talking with people too here. It's fun to meet everybody. What everybody think about the Bud Can Lure video? that one was that one was a bomb, but it sure is a crazy looking lure here. Right conditions, maybe I could get something to bite it. I thought I had something nip at it. It doesn't look like a shad, but it looks like a meal for a hungry bass. They don't kind of care, get a reaction strike out of them. I was thinking, I was thinking about taking one of these guys out. Wouldn't want anything to happen to them. But either this little crazy crawler, right? Nice silver color here. I'd be so afraid about losing them. This one wasn't too bad. I mean, yeah, I paid 15 bucks for it, and it's probably 20 years old in perfect shape, but it would be neat to catch a bass on them. And then here's another one of these head and sinking, I think they call these chub minnows or something like that, kind of a crankbait kind of a deal here. This reminds me of one that used to be in my dad's tackle box that he would never let me use because it was his dad's. Man, I wish I had that tackle box with all those cool looking lures in it. You guys collect any vintage lures? Um, I really do like those Kistler rods. Uh, when I became a team member, I got a good discount and I needed to load up. So they gave me a deal for 99 bucks a piece. I think it's like 159, 169 list. Um, I got three from the Argon series, and for kind of a budget rod, they're really awesome. I got the medium light, the medium, and the medium heavy. And Kisslers, they kind of run a little lighter action than what someone would normally say here. Um, the medium, the medium light is like really nice and finessey. I like throwing, my little bitty game hogs and my smaller plastics on. You get a really good feel on them. The regular medium heavy here, I kind of like finesse jigs on. You can throw a crankbait on them, although they're not a crankbait rod. And then the heavy one is more like a light side of a heavy. It's I can throw those buzz baits. I can put on, the walking dogs. I can throw your full size jig on those guys. Um, I've even, when you get in the pinches of co-angler, you can't bring all your rods. I put a big old, big old crankbaits on there, like, DT16s, DT18s, XD5s, XD6s too. And then I bought off Facebook Marketplace. I got one of their real feel, something feel BFS rods. That's really good for BFS. I got a deal on that guy. I like that guy. And then my Warman and my main flipping rod, I've got a chromium rod that's really nice. And I got a couple chromium reels. Um, it's got more of the micro kind of guides, and it's got the full cork handle, not single, not non-split grip where the other ones had a split grip. Um, but those argons, um, I really like taking them on co-angling adventures because on my co-angling adventures, you're just putting stuff in the car. You never have enough rod space. You're carrying a bunch of stuff at once here. I've gotten a lot of bent eyelets and broken eyelets from that. The eyelets on the argon rod, I mean, I think I could step on and take a hammer to. So every time I've taken them out, man, they're just like tanks here. So yeah, I was thinking about picking up a few more rods for next year and trying out some of the other series here. I know Larry Dively has a few of those too. Oh, hey, we got Jerry on. All right, Jerry's ready to go. Without further ado, welcome to the show,
Hey,
Jerry. Thanks for
how's it
coming.
going?
Good. We just kind of did a little, quick review of the Illini standings, and then we took a quick little look here at. We had the Super on Kentucky Lake in 23, and you came in seventh place. You did really well there. We looked at that. 10-12 and 10-12. Talk about Mr. Consistent. I forgot that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that was funny. I caught most of those fish on Barkley, and I had a plan going in. I told my girlfriend if I caught a limit both days, I would do pretty well. And I think there was only 5 of us in that tournament that caught a limit both days.
Yeah, it was big time tough on day 2.
Yeah.
It was really down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to move. I ended up catching part of my fish the second day on Kentucky, and I had to move, and it was kind of quirky. It was cloudy that morning, and for some reason the shad wasn't where I'd been catching fish, and I really had to move around and find some other fish because those fish just left me. And I mean that's part of tournaments is making the right decision at the right time. And I caught about a 4-pounder and finished up a couple there late in the day, the second day, and ended up catching a limit and finishing 7th. So
Yeah, I was out the first day. It was kind of sunny and not too warm, but pretty warm the whole day. That's right. I wasn't down there, so it got a little overcast on Sunday, day 2 last time.
yeah, it was cloudy part of the day, and then late in the day I made a move, and I actually chased the sun a little bit, and I found just a little patch that had broke through, and the shad were acting different where the sun was. Now,
Yeah.
that don't always play, but it did that day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
going into this tournament, my USA Bassin partner and I, between the two of us, we've caught some really nice fish over 4 pounds in the past 8 or 10 days. And the problem is getting enough of those bites. We're not having problems catching some quality fish, but can you catch 3 of those and then catch at least a couple keepers to get you in that that second day? And I think I read Clint had, they interviewed Clint Knight for MLF and breaking down this tournament. And he seemed to think that 12, 13 pounds to get you to the second day. And it might, it's according to this weather, it may take 14 to get you to the second day. They had a USA.
Yeah, it's earlier.
They had a USA Bassin tournament Saturday, and the top 5 were all over 17 pounds.
Yeah. Tournaments earlier in the year, too. It was September 23rd, 24th then, too, right?
Yeah, but I'll tell you this much. The lake is already as low almost now as it was back then.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
stuff exposed and stuff now that's very similar. I was just on the lake, 3 or 4 days ago. Friday, I think, was the last day I was on the lake, and I caught a 4-pound smallmouth, and I did catch some other fish, but the lake's changing, and I think Clint really nailed it. I think the fish are really in transition. There's fish from shallow water to 20 foot deep, and they can be here today and gone tomorrow. You find fish the first day, they may not be there the second day. You're gonna have to roll with the punches, and I think that's kind of where I've been successful. Is I'm a pretty good junk guy. I'm a pretty good junk.
Yep.
I can pick up a crankbait or a topwater or a jig or a plastic worm, and I pretty much feel comfortable with all those in my hand. I favor a crankbait, but hey, I'll be glad to pick up a worm, catch 2 or 3 keepers if that's what it takes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, different area, different time of day. I mean, they all come
Yeah,
into play. Things are always changing. Yeah, I
yeah.
kind of wondered that Shelbyville's like a couple of feet down too. And it was noticeable this weekend again.
Last year or the year before one, and it may have been 2 years ago when we had that tournament, the lake went through a big turnover, but the weather was really consistent that fall. We had a gradual cooling off, and this year we go from 96 last week to like 76 today. So and it's crazy, the water temperature out in the main lake is still really warm.
Is it? Like,
The
what
back
is
of
it?
the creeks are
Well, on
starting
Friday.
just a hair, but the main lake, of course, that water's coming out of Tennessee, Alabama. The main lake's still pretty warm.
Like, what do you mean? Like, I'll give you an example. So, August 15th, I'm at Shelbyville. It's 90 degrees in Shelbyville, 80, 88, 80, 89. It was down to 80 last Friday because of the cool off.
Friday, I still saw some 87, 88 degree water out on the main lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but there again, our water is coming from the south north.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting that superheated water, still flowing north, and it's going to take an extra day or 2 to cool off. Now, that doesn't mean fish aren't shallow, because some of them are. I haven't run into any real big wolf packs up shallow. They're mostly 1 or 2 fish.
Right. Yep.
They're kind of lone wolves that you find up there, but when you get a bite, it's usually a good one. And I'll throw a variety of baits. A vixen, or that's a tackle slash. I think it's slash kicker.
Oh, I've never seen that. Is that a vintage one or it's something newer?
No, what it is, they had those years ago, and the old bait is called the One, and it was made probably the same people made the Vixen, and now Tackle has went back and has reproduced it, just like the Tackle Kick Knocker is basically the Vixen. They're pretty much one and the same.
Gotcha.
I still throw a Vixen an awful lot, but I'm not afraid to pick one up, and throw something a little different. And I'll probably have let me grab another one here. This is a 6 cent scramble like a plopper style bait, you know, I'll probably have 3 or 4 different top waters tied on early, especially because sometimes you'll throw, you know, and part of that has to do with the wind. You know, if it's too choppy, you can't
Yep.
throw a walking bait very
Yep.
much. So then you have to go to the big slash kick or a shower blows or a big plopper. Or then you have to just start maybe cranking a square bill in some of the same areas, you know. And I think weather will play a big role in what, you know, what bait choice ends up catching those fish, whether it's on top or subsurface.
Yeah. So, how has the topwater kind of bite been down there?
It's getting
I
better.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
The 4
I've seen.
pounder
I was just
on a top water.
nice,
So
nice.
yeah, they're starting to bite.
I'm starting to see in Shelbyville a lot of the, juvenile shad anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half starting to appear in the creeks. They're not dense yet, but there's packs here and there.
Yeah, there's some shad in the creeks. The only difference is I think we're 2 to 3 weeks behind normal. And I think that's because we were 2 or 3 weeks behind all spring long.
Because of the flooding.
The flood, the
Yeah.
cold
Yeah.
water, late.
Yep.
We had 2 or 3 different spawning phases. And I think the shad spawn was later. And I think the shad are just a little bit smaller than they were the past couple 3 years.
So that's really going to make a weird situation, huh?
Yeah, I think it could. I think some of it will still play the same, but the shad are moving, and until they get established somewhere, or I mean, and you could run in a creek anytime, and and find a pack of fish and a big pack of shad, and it be glorious. But I haven't found that yet.
No, yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, oh, being in, that far south of, say, like Shelbyville or my lake here, I'm like, okay, well, what I'm fishing now we just had the cool off, maybe that's what we're going to see in, 2.5, 3 weeks down there.
Well, 2 weeks will make a big difference still, and we're a little under the 2 week period now, but
Yeah.
we still got 10, 11 days, whatever. And that'll make a big difference. The water temperature, if we get the same kind of weather pattern we got going now, it could be wide open. It could take 20 pounds or more, a day to win the thing. And, I'll be happy with a top 15, make the second day. I haven't been real consistent this year, but I hadn't fished as many tournaments this year. I've had a lot going on. Grandbaby born, son moved into a house. They got a grandbaby on the way. I've worked a bunch of overtime, vacations. I mean, it's kind of been a crazy summer for me.
A bye year,
Yeah. And me and my USA Bassing partner, we're going to fish a regional USA Bassing. We're probably we're kind of leaning towards the one out of Paris. It's later in October, and I really like that section of the lake down there. Late, and we may fish that one. We might fish one out of Barkley. It's all according to what goes on. But I've got, if anything, we've got this one coming up, and maybe I can get a couple more tournaments in for the season's over.
Yeah. I kind of meant to call them. I have no idea how many anglers are going to have here. By watching the BFL pages, there's a lot of local Kentucky boaters and co-anglers jumping in. So I think it's going to be more than the Illini. They've been really low, 70, 80. I'm thinking they're going to add at least another 20 guys probably down there. So probably about 90, maybe 100 because of the time of year.
Yeah. I'd say 90, 95 probably. And that's a guess, but I do know there's going to be a lot of the LBL guys jump in because their super tournaments the next weekend.
Right. Right.
So if anything, it's just kind of like a big practice for them, and they can, they can fish up here on the north end, and then theirs is out of Paris, and they can go down there and wreck them the next weekend.
Hopefully you got the hammers. I saw Levi Cole just won a USA Bassin over the weekend. I saw a post on that.
I think the one I saw, Jeff DeFew and his partner, Jason Kidd, won Saturday. And then I think Clint Knight and Noah were fifth in that one. And there were some big sticks in that, I didn't get to fish, but they had some pretty good weights. I think 18 something won, and fifth place was still 17 pounds. Like the top five were all within a pound of each other.
Yeah, still 3 to 4 smallmouths in those big bags.
No.
No.
The winning bag was all largemouth, and I think second and third was pretty much all largemouth too.
Wow. Hmm.
Yeah. Now I caught a nice smallmouth on Friday, but the week before I caught a pretty close to 5 pound largemouth, not very far really from where I caught the smallmouth. So there's some pretty good fish up there. My tournament partner caught a 513 Saturday. So that's pretty big fish for either lake.
Yeah, I was thinking, usually, I guess it's just been last year when I fished LBL, it was just like smallmouth dominated. There weren't really, you saw some runts and like fill out the bag, but not many big largemouth last year. Is the kind of lake changing, or is it fishing conditions or time of season?
More than anything. I mean, a lot of the smallmouth are still out deep. They're hard to find out there. And there again, I think the big ones, a lot of them now, they aren't packed up. I think they're just individual 1 or 2 fish here and there. And until they get it a little bit later in the year and the water cools off a little and more of those come up shallow, it's just harder to get on a smallmouth pattern. The largemouth are a little bit easier to pattern when you can find them. And they tend to be grouped up a little more than the smallmouth. That's my opinion, but
Yeah.
2 years ago, my tournament plan was based on all largemouth, and I think I weighed 1 smallmouth. The last day, I caught about a 3 pound smallmouth, and the first day, I lost about a 3 pound smallmouth. That probably cost me 2 places.
Yeah.
Other fish clean, but those largemouth, 2 years ago, were still much easier to pattern than the smallmouth. I'm going to fish for some smallmouth, first thing in the morning. I'm going to be throwing a topwater probably. It's kind of pot luck. Are they there or are they not,
Yeah.
For me, there again, I'm sure Levi and Clint, those guys could probably run to an exact spot and throw on them, but I haven't found that yet. I'm in some good areas and I'm getting some bites. But as far as me going and saying, hey, I'm going to catch, 3 pound smallmouth to start the day. No, there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
I wish there
was not catching. Yep.
Because I feel like I can catch a 4 or 5 pound largemouth sometime during the day. And if you can put, 2 or 3 pounders with it, then you're probably going to make the second day.
Yeah.
But, a lot of those 2.5 pound largemouth we had are now close to 3 pounds and over. So if you do find them, 5 of those could get you 15 pounds or right at
it. Or 14. Yeah.
Yeah. And I 100% believe 14 will put you in the second day.
Yeah.
I believe that.
As a boater.
Yes.
As a co-angler, you might be winning.
As a co-angler, you need to have 6 or 7 pounds or better to make that second day, and I would tend to go 7.
Yeah, I looked at the results from last time, and 4 pounds 2 ounces was the last one to get you in. It was kind of 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5. But I'm definitely thinking, it's probably a little bit better a little early in the season. So yeah,
And the fish are bigger than they were 2 years ago, average bigger.
yeah, across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's me and if I was fishing as a co-angler, I glue a plopper or a walker in my hand all day, and I would not set it down unless I'm throwing a small square bill or shallow crankbait for a few minutes just to break up the monotony. I'm
Well,
throwing.
yeah, you can only, man, do that for so long, and before that muscle goes numb.
Trust me, I'm building up my Vixen arm right.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
to.
Dustin's asking about the nighttime temperatures here. I know it's going to be, at least in St. Louis, Central Illinois, it's cool for the next couple of days, but we're on a warming trend. It's going to be up into the 90s next week.
Yeah, but I don't think the 90s will stay. I think they'll go right back the other
Yeah.
direction. So I'm not too worried about 90. And once the water temperature itself breaks over and starts down, it's not going to come back. That
Oh,
that
yeah. Once you start having the cool nights, that's why I think Dustin's
cool night
asking that. Yeah.
and the length of the day, it's already dark now. 7
7:45.
Yeah, 7:35 or something. It's getting pretty.
Yeah.
And the longer nights, the water's just naturally cooling off. And, we got 2 weeks of that cool off. It wouldn't surprise me to see, water temperatures in the high 70s, low 80s. And they may warm up a few degrees during the day, and then they may not. It's
Right. Right. Weather based. Yeah.
all it takes is one hurricane to blow in here, and everything we've talked about goes south.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's it could pour down rain this time of year, and get 10 inches if you get a hurricane come up the Gulf. And I've seen it several times in September.
Yeah. Yeah. What about spinner baits or chatter baits?
Yeah.
A
If
little early.
if I'm throwing a big chatterbait, it would probably be out deep on a ledge.
Yeah.
If I'm throwing a big spinner bait, it'd probably be in the same situation, or a bar out on a river bar,
Hmm.
pulling some current. In reverse, if I'm up in shallow water, I would probably downsize my spinner bait to match the
Yep.
shatter up there.
Yep. Yep. The little guys. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just telling the guys here. I was showing them what I got on gut hooked on whatnot. You want to talk a little bit about your little whatnot business
In
here?
fact, I would be embarrassed to show you my living room right now. I bought a huge batch of lures yesterday. Bought an old tournament fisherman and charter boat fisherman out. And so I've got thousands and thousands of lures, and I've been selling on Whatnot since about June. And it's an app. It's a live auction, but it's very similar to eBay, but it's just live. You're
Yeah.
bidding live, just like you went to the auction house. And when it's sold, and then it's up to me to ship it to you.
And it arrived here a couple of days later in this nicely packed box with all the professionally packed stuff here, and I had my toys. I was telling guys about it earlier.
That's not a requirement of Whatnot. That's just me personally. If you buy a lure from me, I'm gonna bubble wrap it and try to get it to you the best shape, just like I sold it.
Yep. Yep. A lot of good deals. I was telling the guys I was picking stuff up for $2, $3, $4, and it's in like brand new shape.
Yeah, yeah.
Three,
And
$4 brand new in box lures too.
sure. What I'm doing, I'm trying to find the best deals I can, and I kind of turn it around. And yeah, I'm making a profit and trying to make a profit, but at the same time, a lot of these prices are far below bait shop prices. And I've got a good buddy, Matt Sanders. He goes by Big Muddy on Whatnot, and I don't know if you can see this, but he painted this. This is an old wiggle wart that he painted for me.
Oh, that's awesome looking.
Oh my gosh, he can kill it. I mean, this wart was so beat up it barely had any paint on it, and he does an incredible job with those. And you know, you can buy a few cheap baits and send them off to somebody like him or a Nick Fulks or a Mark Restivo. I know a lot of good painters, you know, that can paint up baits, but I kind of like saving old baits. You know, I hate throwing baits away. So I kind of resurrect them and I'm going to use them. Hey, these old wiggle warts, the colder weather we get, you know, when you get up in October, early November, all those baits will come back into play. The rock crawlers, there's your rock crawler.
Yep. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Me and my tournament partner caught. We fished the Senior Bass Classic last November, and we come in 8th and got a check in it. And that was about 90 some odd boats, you know, here on Kentucky and Barkley. And we caught a few fish on a rock crawler that week. But that was 7th, 8th of November, I think, last year.
Yeah, last spring down there I was the February 20 something or March 6th or something. I was catching them on rock crawlers.
Yeah.
I could kill a 13.5 inches on rock crawlers.
Yeah, there's days though, but I mean, this time of year and it's a little harder bite, but here 2-3 weeks from now, you never know what the weather's going to do. And if the weather gets
Yeah.
down and those shad group up, then, you know, they get on a little bit of structure, then a lot of that stuff comes back into play. Your DT6s, your DT8s, you know, I'll throw those too. I don't throw them as much now as I will, you know, October to November. I'll pick those baits back up.
Right.
I'm not afraid to throw them right now, but those fish have seen crankbaits all summer, so
Yeah.
I tend to pick up the plastic worm or a jig or you know
Yeah.
something else,
Yeah.
a Seiko or Nico, something different. You know, a little softer presentation maybe if I'm out and I see a fish or two on the ledge and I'm trying to catch them.
Right. Hey,
But I
John's asking here if you think there's a double-digit largemouth out in the lake. I
a
bet
double.
there's got to be.
Yeah, there's one somewhere. I mean, they've been stocking Florida strains in Tennessee for the last several years, and eventually, do I see us being, you know, Chickamauga where we're catching 9 and 10 pounders all the time? No, because we are farther north, and there's more northern strain here, and the smallmouth come into play. You know, it's a whole different dynamic. But yeah, I think in the next 2 or 3 years you could see some 9 and 10 pounders. Right now, it's still a struggle to catch largemouth from 6 to 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's usually seen a tournament of if a largemouth, the big one will be 6, maybe 7, at least from what I noticed
the
last
big
year.
fish in that USA Bass was like 4.5 pounds.
Wow.
And most Tuesday nighters out of the moors, you know, those guys, a lot of, you know, even Dan Moorhead, a lot of old professionals, Terry Bolton, some of those guys fish those Tuesday nighters. 4 to 5 pounder usually wins a big fish on Tuesday night. They've had a few over 5 this summer, but it hadn't been many. And that's a pretty good gauge because those guys fish every Tuesday night, you know. And for the north end of the lake right now, like I said, my tournament partner caught a 513 Saturday, and a 513 right now, that's a big fish for this lake. It would surprise me if anything much bigger than that, you know, didn't take the big fish both days of the 2-day.
Oh, probably. Yeah. I just under 5.5 to 6, right?
Oh yeah, I catch a 513, I'm overjoyed.
Yeah.
Promise you. You know,
Uh-huh.
2 or 3, 4. There's a lot of 4-pound fish in the lake. We're starting on smallmouth and largemouth. You're starting to see some 4-pound largemouth. You know, I caught a couple last week. He did too. And but when it's hard to get over that 5 and 5.5 hump, I think part of it we still don't have the skipjack in the lake, and the big gizzard shad population probably hadn't caught up. I think those two fish populations probably took more of a dive than the thread fins, and the thread fins I think bounce back quicker. There's more of them. I still see gizzard shad, but I'm not seeing as many as I used to. And the skipjack are almost non-existent until you get up in cold weather, and then you start seeing some adults show up. I can remember days back when I was a kid, you could go to the intake at Kentucky and you could catch 200 skipjack in a night. You would literally get tired of them. And yeah, you can catch a few around Memorial Day, but those days are gone, and just going up there and catching skipjack. I saw several last winter, and that was the first time that I had really seen several since the lake made a big downturn. So I know they're still in the lake, and I think they're coming back. But I think a lot of those big river fish eat those skipjack that are 8, 9, 10 inches long, 11 inches long. I think that's a big food base that they probably don't have right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
So
I
start seeing the big gizzards back and the skipjack back, then your weights are going to come on up too. That's just my opinion. It's like everybody's got a couple.
Yeah. I gotta say something else.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, as I think John's bringing up here too, I'm thinking, you had that Bassmaster Open and you had the BPT, man, you had super hammers on there, and
Never caught
on
anybody
top of the
over.
normal tournament series, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I'll say this, the BPT, a lot of their keepers would not be keepers in our BFL. They were keeping 1.5 pound fish, and 1.5 pound fish on Kentucky and Barkley is not 15 inches. 1.5 pound fish is a 13 to 14 inch fish. I've seen some 14-inch fish on Barkley that weigh 2 pounds.
Wow.
So,
well fed.
yeah, they're not. Yeah, they caught a lot of fish, but they weren't catching as many 15-inch fish as it's led on and led to believe, if that makes sense. Me and you can go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can catch 25 or 30 13 to 15-inch fish.
Yeah.
It's catching those 6 or 8 fish that are 3.5 to 4 pounds that you're going to have to win the tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. John here's asking, how can you find a tournament schedule for Kentucky Lake that isn't a major tournament? Man, yeah, that's a good question. They've got so many tournaments.
Kentucky Fish and Wildlife page, and a lot of the tournaments are on that. And then after that, then you pretty much have to go to each organization's page. USA Bassin, Fishers of Men, NTBA, Kentucky Bassmasters. There's about a half dozen organizations, that use Kentucky Lake for a lot of their tournaments.
I mean, you got Tuesday nighters, Wednesday nighters, Thursday night.
Yeah.
Probably every marina, every day of the week, there's something, even if it's small, huh?
You've got, and it's different time of the year. Like USA Bassin runs a Tuesday nighter out of Mineral Mounds, and it starts about the end of May, and it ends about the 1st of August. It runs for about 2 months, and it's over. The guys at Moore's run from the time change all the way up. Their last tournament, their championships, usually in pretty cold weather. But there's tournaments, USA Bassin runs a tournament out of Little River Division. They've got a Grand River Division, a Catawba Division. There's 3 or 4 different divisions on the lake because the lake is so long.
Yeah.
You don't want to drive from New Johnsonville all the way to the dam every night to fish a tournament, In fact, there's a New Johnsonville division. In fact, I think they have a summer division and a winter division.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So, But those guys are way down the lake. You know, they're 50, 60 miles from here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's such a big lake that, yeah, the lake can take the pounding. I would really like to see the national tournaments give it a break for a year or two again, and let it come back. And because fishing pressure does kill fish, it does
Yeah.
kill fish. Tournaments kill fish eventually. They you know, not everybody's a good guy and takes care of their fish.
Right.
We seen that last year in that one tournament where, you know, like half the fish turned in. Seemed like I didn't even want to put my fish in the relief tank because there were so many dead fish in it.
Yeah, that July one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It was
fish were in
horrible.
shape, and I didn't want to put them in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see. The BPT was there. They won't be there for a few years. I think Bassmaster released their Elite series. I don't think they're there, but I remember just skimming it. I don't think they're there. So
I think the Toyota series is doing Kentucky and Pickwick twice.
yeah, I saw in the Plains division next year in the Toyota, it's going to be Laz, Kentucky Lake, and then Lake Dardanelle.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to see all of the professional series go back to some of the old river systems that they used to run. You know, the Potomac River.
Yep.
They've done the James River here recently, kind of a little bit,
Yep.
but the Alabama River, the Coosa
Coosa.
River, Red River. Yeah, some of these tournaments were a lot tougher, but that's what made good TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I was busy this weekend, but I caught a little bit of the Bassmaster up there in La Crosse here, and I wanted to go to It's been on my bucket list to do a road trip up there and hearing from the guys here, and yeah, it was cool. It was old school fishing, man, and everyone doing different stuff. It was so cool, you know.
Right, and
Yeah, I
it's
think
there.
the southern Toyota that's going to go to the Arkansas River, and as opposed to being on all those Texas lakes, they were kind of complaining about it. I heard Cassadine talk about that, but yeah, back to some of those river systems, and that the river in Louisiana is on one of them too, I think.
Okay. I feel like a true river system where you got current and stuff. I think it negates a little bit of the scoping that goes on
Yeah,
when you're in a reservoir situation. The fish don't tend to get out there and roam around. They're more current oriented, on structure, on cover. I think it's a different dynamic, and I don't know. I like throwing old school baits.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go, remembering how you used to do it, right?
I still do it. I mean, I still throw the same stuff. I never stopped.
Cool.
Um,
So,
once in a while,
so
success.
What do you we're gonna have the tournament after a holiday weekend here. Um, is holiday weekend a big tournament, or do the tournaments turn off for the Labor Day, and it's mostly just going to be,
I
you
think most
know,
of them are done.
boating traffic?
I think that's why, like the USA Bass, and that was the last weekend here that they had. There
Hmm.
may be an NTPA or somebody, but um, I think most of them are probably done until the following weekend. Um, and me personally, if I was going to fish Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do it real early and be off the water by probably 10.
Yeah, yeah,
Let the
yeah, yeah,
have it.
yep, yep. So you don't think it'll be too much of a factor?
Probably not. Probably not. If
Yeah,
it keeps
if
you,
it's a party boats, it'll keep the fishing pressure off. I mean, it'll be noisy boats, but they're going to have that anyway, right?
yeah. But during the week, I fish during the week a lot because I work swing shift. During the week, there's really not that much boat traffic on the lake. It's really not.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I, I fished last Friday and I was able to go about anywhere I wanted to go and fish.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I since I got Fridays off now. I go to Shelbyville on Friday, and it's just like there's hardly anyone there, and until um I can fish to about noon, and then the party boats kind of start, but it's not too bad beforehand, and it's nice.
And it'll be the same here. Um, and the one thing that people don't think about, it really don't have anything to do with temperature here that shuts the boaters down. It's the lake level. And a lot of the people that have docks and have pontoons, if their pontoon dock is back in a cove, there becomes a time of year where they've got to get their pontoon out or they can't get it out.
Yep.
Water drops out on them. And pretty much Labor Day for a lot of those folks, it's the shutoff point because they've been dropping the water since July the 5th.
Oh, it's just been going down the whole time. Yeah, because we haven't had that much rain.
They do it they do it every year. TVA draws
Did,
it down starting July the 5th, and we're down almost 2 feet right now.
yeah.
Off the pool. And they'll draw it down almost another foot and a half. It'll take time, and if you get some big rains, it may briefly come up a few inches, but once they start drawing it down, there's no coming back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. It's just a natural yearly cycle. Yeah.
Yearly cycle. We're the tail end reservoir on the chain, and we're the biggest reservoir. And we, basically what they do is they prepare us for floods and flood control. If there's a hurricane that comes through, and last year when they were fishing the regional down there on the Pickwick, we had that huge hurricane come through, dumped all that water, and Pickwick was dumping, and Kentucky was dumping, and that's the reason they do it. It's just for that reason.
Yeah. They got to have that capacity ready
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can actually go to the TVA website and pull it up, and they'll show you the drawdown process. You can see it. And they pretty much stick to it every year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, scientists and engineers doing their jobs.
Yeah.
So, kind of angling mindset for the tournament here. How you going to go into the tournament? You're not thinking about the regional. You're going to be going for it, right?
Well,
Go
yeah.
big or go home, right?
I canceled a couple tournaments during the year, had a couple bad tournaments, and that's just my plan is to go and try to finish as high as I can finish. Hey, I'd love to be a top five. I think the potential's there. If you're consistent, if you're consistent over 2 days, now I'll need to fish near perfect. I can't afford to lose, 2 or 3 big fish because I'm just probably not going to get enough bites. But you catch 17, 18 a day, hey, you could be right up there in the top 5.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They'll
yeah, yeah,
catch 17 the first day, and they'll have a tough time repeating it the second day.
yeah. I looked at the results from last year. It dropped like a rock. Only the top 5 guys really caught them kind of
Yeah,
seriously day 2.
yeah. And I think Robert made fun of me because I caught the same amount both days. He's like consistency. I was like,
Uh-huh.
consistently big enough. I had a limit both days. It just wasn't a big one.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I catch a limit both days, if I catch a good limit the first day, I think I'll make a second day, and that's my plan. I want to catch 2 limits. I want to finish in the top 10 and end that little season on a good note. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. On the home lake here. In fact, I forgot to look. Do you know what? Are there any limits on the areas where we can fish here? I know they'll put that out.
Only as far as I know, the only limit will be Kentucky Dam Marina will be off limits.
Yeah, but other than that, you can go to Barkley. You can go as far south as you want, as long as you can make it back, huh?
Unless there's something different from years past, I don't think they cut us off. You can't lock, you can't lock into
Right,
you can't lock into the river.
right.
Out of that, I'd say it's probably free game. Close to 240 or 50,000 acres to choose from. Surely you can find 5 in that.
There's a lot of dead water there.
there is some dead water, and it's still where you can't just go down a bank. You know, there was a time here you could go down a bank and catch 2 pounders and up to 3 pounders. Of course, back then they wouldn't do any good because you'd have a limit for 14 pounds, and 25 to 30 pounds won the tournament. But yeah, you still can't go down a bank and just beat the
Right.
bank. Hope to catch quality fish day in, day out. I'm not saying you can't do it in a short term. Like I said, you might do that the first day. There'll be some fish caught on some docks. There'll be some fish caught on. If you can find a couple patches of water willow that are still in the water, yeah, there's still some fish hanging out around them. But man, they're getting few and far between. The patches I've seen have been pretty much high and dry. So, it you might catch some fish like that the first day. It'd be tough to repeat that the second day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, or you'd have to hit just take a run and hit new areas, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I would be more apt to fish some docks if I had a good limit and I'm just fishing for a 4 to 5 pound fish for a kicker.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That that
Yeah.
that would be probably more my plan if I catch what I want, and then up in the heat of the day I'm trying to find some shade and and get lucky and catch a fish and upgrade my catch. That's probably more along the lines of what I would do. Um, and I'm off going. I'm working this week, and then I'm off for 2 weeks, so I'll have all the time in the world to get on the lake and cruise around and find some shad and find some fish, and I'll do my due diligence and do the practice necessary to find some fish. Doesn't mean I'll
Sweet.
first day, but we'll see.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of guys down there practicing. Going to have the Illini guys. They're not that familiar with the area. And you're going to have all the local hammers that almost don't even need to practice, but probably will be anyway, right?
Yeah, I know last year, excuse me, in the BFL Super Tournament, I only caught 2 keepers the first day, and I didn't make the second day. But I was the highest finisher with 2 keepers because the 2 keepers I had was like a 4 pound largemouth and a 3 pound smallmouth. I just needed if I catch one 15-inch fish, I make the second day.
Yep.
I ended up
Remember
finishing
that.
36 or 38, something like that.
Yeah.
And several times that day, I caught 14 and 7/8, fish. And
Oh,
like, oh, this is the one that's going to get me to the second day. And it just never happened.
no squeakers.
Yeah, I caught a lot of fish, but I caught those 2 good fish and just never could get a third one because we were
Yeah.
running on 3 limit last time. And I haven't seen if they're going to do 5 or 3 this time. That may be a game time decision. I don't know.
Oh, for boaters. Yeah, I didn't think about that because it is earlier in the year and according to what the temperature is. Yeah, I wonder how they make that call.
I don't know. I know last year in the BFL, the Kentucky Lake BFL Super Tournament, we went to a 3 fish limit. Sure did.
Yeah.
Me, I would prefer 5 because I feel like the 3 gives guys a chance that might not catch a limit. If they
Right.
catch 3 good ones,
Right.
it might give them an advantage. Where me being local, I feel my advantage is me catching 5 2 days in
Right.
a row versus catching 3 big ones the first day to make it to the second day.
Right.
It'll change my strategy quite a bit if we have to go to a 3 fish limit.
Then you gotta swing for bigger fish because
Yeah,
3 small ones aren't going to get you there, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Change. It'll change what I do quite a bit if they just go to a 3 fish because there is a
Yeah,
difference.
that's interesting. I've heard all the co-anglers talk about that this year, and Summer Pro and Summer Con. I heard that I watched most all of that GTO interview. It was interesting to see kind of Boyd's side of it. Makes it more competitive. I mean, he's at it from the I need more tournament participation. Co-anglers are down across the board everywhere. Um, did you get a chance to watch that at all or hear about that interview that Slick Johnson did with Boyd a few weeks ago?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I get the link for you. Eric found it for me. I listened to it, and he was basically like, I think, he was really saying, we experimented with the BPT and live scope for a third. And I think that's the right balance, and you're going to see that come down to eventually everywhere. He said it was going to hit, the new tackle warehouse or whatever they call them, their Pro Series or whatever.
Right.
Um, but he implied that was going to hit BPT too. He
Mike,
said, "Well, how are you going to police that?" And they said, "Well, you get an electronic device that tells you when it's locked and unlocked." Okay,
I've got a Mega Live 2, and I'll use it when I use it, and when I don't, I don't.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I turn it off.
Well, yeah, I think the fish have gotten sensitive to sonar and turning it off or turning it the other way. Or if you're going to fish somewhere shallow and you don't need anything, turn all the pinging off. They're getting, I think, more sensitive than people realize.
Oh yeah,
Smarter with evolution. They're evolving too, right?
yeah.
They've been here longer than we have.
You know, I like it as long as it's a level playing field, and if you can have it and I can have it and I can use it or I can not use it, I just soon have it on the boat. And
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about going against Clint or Levi or those guys that are really, really good scopers. You know, Clint's going to fish the EQs. I mean, he's going to fish against some of the best and
Hmm.
make the Elite Series. So, you know, I beat him in that Super Tournament 2 years ago.
Yeah, I saw that. We
He
went
beat
down the
me
list. He
here.
was he was down like 18-20 or something like that,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
he beat me last year. He finished, 4 or 5 ahead of me, I think, on the BFL last year. And he had a bad tournament. He'll tell you, he was going
Yeah.
in. He was going to win Angler of the Year last year if he made the second day, and he didn't.
Yep. Yep.
So even those guys can have a bad day or a bad tournament. It's just sometimes it's luck of the draw. If I catch
Oh, yeah.
one keeper last year, I make the second day,
Yep.
but I didn't
Yep.
get it done.
Yep. Yep. That's fishing.
That's
It's
fishing.
there's so many uncontrolled variables. It's mind-numbing how complex the sport really is when you get down to it.
I think that's my draw, though, because I enjoy making decisions out on the water to determine my success.
Yeah.
That's the
And I
fun.
was hitting that a little bit earlier, and I'm going to do a shameless little plug here. My last video I set out on Shelbyville, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do Nico rigs. Well, they didn't want a Nico rig. So I had to abandon the plan and I found something that worked. Same thing happened 2 weeks ago in this video I'm going to drop this Thursday. Okay, I'm going to try that again. You know what? The fish, the weather, the lake, the mood, the areas, you got to let them tell you what they want. And you got to experiment some too, right?
Yeah. And, just because you caught a fish today on a certain bait, tomorrow may be entirely different at different conditions. The level of light, the amount of clouds, the sun, the wind. Is
The
it rain?
current. Yeah.
Temperature 10 degrees warmer or 10 degrees cooler? Was it a front come through? All that stuff plays, man. All of it plays.
Yeah.
And no
Yeah.
place does it play more, I think, than Kentucky Lake. And I think that's why guys like Lance or Clint, these guys that have made, these other tournaments series, and I think that's why they're so successful, because they've seen big changes day in and day out in the current. And some of these lakes, like, I know you fish Table Rock. People talk about Table Rock having current. Table Rock don't have no current.
No.
Ozark
No.
have no current.
Not really. No. No. Nothing like
Nothing,
Kentucky Lake.
nothing like we have. And
Hmm.
I watch guys do fishing reports from there, and I fish Table Rock and Lake of the Ozarks, and but it's almost like a big pond,
Yeah.
and it fishes more like a big pond.
Yep. Yep.
Fish here don't fish like we call it the big pond, It is not the big pond.
It's the big river.
It's the yeah. It's the big river. It's hard on boats. It's hard on equipment. Um,
Yep.
it's just a different animal out there, and it is an animal. We're lucky that this time of year, most of the time the wind don't play havoc with us like what it does early in the year and create 4 or 5 footers. But I'll tell you, if a storm blows up and you're out on that main river, it can get bad right now.
Oh yeah.
It can get mean out there. So you better have your life jackets. You better have your emergency stuff ready, and pay attention to the weather. That's part of fishing Kentucky and Barkley Lake.
Oh yeah. I hopped in that number 4 so I could get, my free reel down there. We took the run from the dam. He told us 35 miles south of Paris, and the wind was coming from the south, so there was good, 2, 3 footers going down, coming back. There was 3, 4 footers, and in a couple of places where big boats would or barges would go by, you did a 5 footer. We were not going full tilt all the way back. No way.
Right.
And that wasn't a fall wind or a spring wind at all.
Right. Yeah. But it can happen here. You can, if anytime the wind is out of the south or north and it gets over 12,
Right up and down. Yep.
it can be a bad day as far as the wind and the weather goes and the waves. So just be safe out there and hope we have a good tournament.
Yeah. I see, Brad. Yeah, we did early. I don't think you were here. We went down the standings here, and it looks like if Bobby McNeil gets blanked and doesn't get a fish, it's kind of wide open for the next branch. But if he gets a fish, it's probably his. That's kind of what I was thinking. But you're right in the fray there. We're rooting for you. Be nice to see one of our guys, stand up and take home some hardware. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, my goal this year was to take home some hardware. Uh, ain't gonna happen. Well, I got one more crack at it here.
Or crack at it.
Well, actually, I got a couple of cracks. I hopped in the Ozarks Super Tournament the next weekend, and then I got Lake of the Ozarks at Ozarks again. It's like an extra practice for the Toyota, and well, maybe I'll backdoor in the consolation prize to go back up to the Quad Cities, just for that fun. We'll see though.
Yeah.
All right, it's getting to be 8:53, Jerry. I know you had tight a time here. Anyone got some last minute questions for Jerry? And while people are maybe thinking up the last question or two, what are your kind of final thoughts on prepping for the tournament? I know you talked a lot about boaters and you competitive with boaters, but from a co-angler point of view here, what are your thoughts?
If it's 3 fish, I'm putting a big topwater in my hand and I'm not taking it out all day.
Yep.
Sun, clouds, wind, flat,
What it
does not matter.
really?
Does not matter.
Even sunny all day and waves?
If is the only way you take the top water out of your hand is the waves are just too tall for it.
Yeah.
That's the only way that you take the top water out of your hand.
What if it's dead calm?
You throw it anyway.
Yeah, really dead. Well, you downsize?
No.
No.
The only thing I do is I change what I'm throwing. If it's calm, I'm either throwing a plopper or a walker.
Yeah, regular spook walker. Yeah.
Now you might change the size of your plopper, from like a 120 to a 90 or something. Go a little smaller plopper.
Yeah.
But on a walking bait, I'm not downsizing a walking bait. I want a big walking bait here. I might even upsize and go to like the big 6-inch walker. I always struggle to think of what the name of the big one is. It's the catwalk, the big Magnum catwalk. That's a great bait, and it's a big fish bait.
Super spook, kind of similar, right? Yep.
Yeah, super spook, but a super spook is basically the size of a vixen or a
Yeah.
shallows or something. That catwalk is big and long. It's it's like 7 inches long or something. It's big.
Yeah, you did 6 cents catwalk you're talking, right?
Because when you hook a fish, you hook a 4-pound smallmouth or a 5-pound largemouth. Those are the kind of fish that a co-angler is going to need.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they
And
make the different size shower blows. I've got the 150 and the 120 or 125, and the 150, it's only, a little bit longer, but it is bigger.
right,
It's more of
right.
a bigger lure. It's a major difference between those two guys. I did
You're
a little
drawing
inventory
out.
last weekend.
You can draw fish from a longer distance, bigger rattles, heavier
Yep.
knot. It
Yeah.
draws fish, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a pissed off fish that wants to,
Yep.
and it happens to hear or see your bait and make a split decision to hit it. That's
Yeah.
what you're looking for. So if it's me and I'm a co-angler, or if I'm a boater, if they go to 3 on a boater, I'm probably throwing a topwater all day long. I'm probably not setting it down. I'm looking for
Yeah.
3. I'm looking for 3 4-pound bites
Well, yeah. In 8 hours. Yep.
in hours. 3 4-pound smallmouth in or largemouth in those 8 hours. And that's the Kevin Van Dam, type, make a million cast, and my arm may be like this at the end of the day if I walk that vixen or catwalk all day, but that's probably what I'm going to do if it's a 3 fish limit, and I'll throw it some regardless.
Oh yeah. Just bring some ibuprofen.
Yeah, I'll probably take a couple for today. Starts.
Preventative. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I actually had when Eric and I had that top water day here, my arm was so sore, and then I had the masseuse that week, and my arm was so tight in here. After she rubbed it down the next day, I had a little bruise because she had to press so hard to get the knot out of here from doing this.
I need a t-shirt. Team Advil.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Jerry. We respect your time. Thank you so much for coming out. We'll see you down on Kentucky Lake. The best of luck for you, and hopefully we're still on to go do a little practice and see you on video too.
Yeah, that'll be all right. Just give me a holler.
All righty. All right. Thanks everybody. If there's no more questions or topics, we'll call it a night. If you guys want to talk for a couple of minutes, we can go a couple more minutes here. I see Dustin talking about the wild card. I did the wild card one time. It was so utterly crazy. I saw a big boating accident. I saw people doing crazy stuff. I don't know if I'd ever do another one. It was like amateur hour on steroids.
Pretty much
Maybe it's
the class fishes the regionals, and everybody else ends up in the wild card.
yeah, it was yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I might feel different if I have nowhere to go and nowhere to fish, but maybe I'll just call it a season.
Well, for me,
Good
it
point
might
though, Dustin.
depend on where it was at too.
Yeah, and they haven't announced it yet. That came up earlier. They usually don't announce it until till they're pretty far into the regionals. They probably don't announce it till it's usually like the first week of November, and they don't announce it until like 2 or 3 weeks before, right?
Yeah, it's pretty late.
Yeah, like the last super tournament, and then they announce or something. So people can't go practice ahead of other
Right.
people. I mean, it makes sense, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Was that Wheeler? Yes, it was Wheeler. Uh-huh. It was Wheeler in 22. Yeah, I think it was 22 I went where that boat hit that catfish boat coming out of the bay. It was crazy bad weather. There's not 50 mile an hour, 30, 40 mile an hour winds, 42 degrees, rain coming sideways, 4 footers. We're launching out of this bay, and this catfish boat comes driving right into where, he had, he had a right to the way, but it's just like,
Why
yeah,
do that though? If you're seeing tournaments buzz out of a place, why would you even attempt it?
yeah, like that Smith Lake accident, and it wasn't their fault, and it's a horrible, horrible
Yeah,
situation. But when you see any of these bad accidents, like a space shuttle, like 6 or 7 bad things, or failures, usually got to happen in a row, or someone's just really stupid. So, any combination of stupid can do it,
yeah, yeah.
and it's sad. I think about it. My wife brings it up. It's like, are you guys safe out there? Was your boater safe? Do you think you should do those? I'm
Well,
like, oh,
when we had the regional on Dale Hollow, if you remember, we had a really bad fog on a practice day, and I sat there for 2.5 hours before I put my boat in. I
yeah,
refused to get on Dale Hollow in the fog.
yeah.
Just flat refused it.
Well, yeah. I mean, even Tin Horse talking about his regional where he won the boat, they were going down Pickwick at 70 miles an hour through fog. And I'm like, whoa, even though your boater is super familiar, it doesn't matter. You're not clairvoyant. You don't have sonar. You got to have vision.
Yeah. I mean, you can run off sonar, but that don't tell you somebody's parked in front of you.
Yeah. 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 Uh-huh.
I mean, I can run
Yeah,
it
it was Dustin.
master chip, and I can stay in the secondary channel and run from Jonathan Creek all the way to the dam in a secondary channel, but that don't mean somebody's not out in that secondary channel. Maybe
Right.
some kids, broke down on a jet ski, or
Right.
some
Right.
players, got a pontoon sideways in the secondary channel.
Right.
I mean, you
Right.
just
For
never
sure.
know. It's not worth it.
Yep. For sure. For sure. Well, good luck to everyone. Everyone have a great holiday, recharge, and enjoy food and family, and end of the summer, kind of official festivities. And see you guys down all at the tournament here. Look forward to saying hi to everybody. Come up and say hi, and see you at the weigh-in or the takeoff.
Thanks for
And
having.
thanks again, Jerry.
I'll
All
be
right.
fishing Friday. Just give me a holler.
Yep. No, I planned on it. I already booked a room.
Fishing this Friday too, so
Oh,
send you some pictures.
uh, yeah, I can't do it this Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah, send me some big fish pictures.
yeah. We'll fish some this Friday probably. And
Yeah, see ya.
night show Thursday night at 6:30.
Pardon?
I'll have a whatnot show this Thursday night
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and Saturday night, I think.
And they need to go to your Play Store or your Apple Store and get the Whatnot app,
Send
right?
you a link, and then if you want to post it on your comments or whatever, you can do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Why don't you do that? Oh,
Yeah.
you can get your referral link. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll do it, and I'll blast it out to everybody. Yeah,
Hey, I appreciate it.
yeah. No problem. We all like to take care of each other.
All right, brother.
All right, brother.
All
Good
right.
night, everybody.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Bye.